I'm telling you, it has been a long and draining day at work, and I am super hungry. And it seems like the easiest option for me would be to just stop by this drive-thru, get something quick to eat, and call it a day. At least it would be one less thing that I have to think about. That seems like the easiest option, right?
Or let's say that you're not as tempted with fast food. Maybe it's just grabbing a bag of chips on the way to another event, because at least you know that you'll have food on your stomach.
I get it. There are days when I'm just so mentally exhausted after a day at work that the idea of cooking just feels like one more task that I just don't have the capacity for. Convenience just feels like the relief that I need after a super stressful day. But what if relying on all of these ultra-processed food to get through the busy days is just making the burnout worse? So if you have been feeling drained 7 days a week, you've been having low energy, brain fog, you have irritability, you're struggling to focus, can you really all blame that on the stress that you're feeling? The answer could be what's sitting in your pantry right now, or what exactly is on your food receipts from this week. Ultra-processed foods are everywhere. In fact, they make up about 60% of the total calorie consumption for US adults. And they're designed to make life easier in this hustle and bustle culture that we live in each day. But the real question we have to ask ourselves is, what is it doing to our body? So ultra-processed foods aren't just foods that are cooked or frozen. They're basically chemistry experiments that are often made with refined starches, added sugars, seed oils, flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, and preservatives. And all of these ingredients you wouldn't even be able to use or see in your own kitchen. And when these foods dominate the majority of your diet long term, they can cause so many issues, such as increased inflammation, mood fluctuations, and just a higher risk of chronic health issues over time. And here is where the burnout comes in. So what happens is when your blood sugar spikes quickly and then crashes, you don't just feel hungry again. You feel tired, unfocused, and irritable. So you might reach for more caffeine, more sugar, and more quick food. And because these foods lack fiber and nutrients, you feel very hungry quickly afterwards. And then you want to eat more. And the cycle just repeats itself. And over time, that constant up and down leaves you feeling like you're running on fumes. And I don't want you to think that it's because you lack discipline. Ultra-processed foods are engineered to be hyper-palatable because they stimulate reward pathways in the brain, which makes it so hard to cut back on, especially when you're already stressed and exhausted. So if you've been relying on them to survive on busy days, that does make sense. But one thing to note is that surviving is not the same as thriving. There's a huge difference. So the real question is, how do you reduce your reliance on ultra-processed food without going extreme? First off, please do not go in your pantry and start throwing out every piece of ultra-processed food that you see. I want you to understand that this is not about perfection. It's about shifting your foundation. And I understand many of us, we live with our families, and it just seems like we are surrounded by ultra-processed food. So I'm going to share with you realistic ways to minimize the amount of ultra-processed food that you consume, ways to prevent that impulsivity that you might have, even being surrounded by it all the time, whether it be within your family, whether it be at the workplace. I'm going to go over all of it. And if you're wondering, oh my goodness, where do I even start? And you're struggling to figure out which foods to prioritize and which ones to limit, and you want to finally feel confident about what you're eating and start experiencing more steady energy throughout the day, I've put together a simple traffic light eating guide that shows you exactly which foods to focus on more often and which ones to limit. All you have to do is click the link in the description below to download your free copy. So first, start by surrounding yourself with whole foods that you actually enjoy eating. So think about the places where you're at the most. So for me, I'm here at school as a public school teacher, Monday through Friday, the majority of the time, or I'm in my car commuting to and from work. So in those places where you are normally the most, where you have the tendency to reach for lots of snacks during the day, you just feel like that impulsivity is extra, replace that ultra processed food that you have in that desk drawer or that you have in the glove compartment of your car with whole foods. Like for me, I have walnuts here that I pack. I rarely snack, but in those moments where for some reason I get a hunger pang, I'll either reach for fruit that I have in the drawer or walnuts, something that is nourishing for my body and something that will really give me stable energy to get throughout the day. Don't underestimate the power of having a fruit bowl on the counter, or maybe not even a bowl, but at least having fruit visible like I have here, whether it be bananas, oranges, apples. They literally require no preparation. All you have to do is if you're in a rush, you're trying to get out the house and you need something quick and you feel like you need something on your stomach, all you have to do is just grab the piece of fruit and go. For example, I'm putting one of these bananas into my lunchbox because I feel like I will need a little bit of a pick-me-up since I have a longer day today. But if I didn't have any fruit visible whatsoever, the pantry's right there. So it's super helpful to have fruit and whole foods visible because if something is out of sight, it's out of your mind. So the more that you see the fruit sitting around you, you'll be more than likely to grab it when you're in a rush. So a lot of times when you're trying to turn your health and wellness around, you think about, okay, what do I have to take away? I have to literally take away everything. I think it's important to shift that mindset, and instead of thinking about, okay, what do I have to take away? Think about what you can add in. So for example, in the freezer here, in the family freezer, one of the meals that's in the freezer is this Amy's ravioli. And notice there are no vegetables in here. There's no vegetables in sight. So adding vegetables like peas or broccoli on top can really help with getting your system and getting accustomed to choosing more whole foods and less ultra processed foods. Just you want to make sure that the meals that you consume are anchored in at least 1 to 2 whole foods. Choose one ultra processed habit this week and swap it. So that vending machine snack that you normally get every single day could be something that you pack that's healthier instead. Remember, small changes compound over time. The goal isn't to never eat convenience food ever again. The goal is to understand the trade-off. If ultra-processed foods are your daily foundation, your body is going to struggle to keep up, and that can show up as burnout, brain fog, and unstable energy. But when you slowly shift your foundation towards more whole foods, your energy finally stabilizes, your focus will improve, and your resilience will grow. And that changes how you show up in your work, your relationships, and your life. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Celebrate the small wins, keep moving forward, and give yourself grace.